So I'm excited to say that Ireland is no longer alone, as Guinness now is the #1 beer in GB as well, something that gives me a lot of pleasure. So, for the ones that don't know me, I'm Nuno Teles. I've spent the last 3 years as the managing director of the GB business, after previously leading the US beer business for 4 years. Prior to that, I spent many years at Heineken working in several markets globally. And soon I will move on to run Diageo's Mexican business and will hand over the GB business to Barry. Barry, you will love the GB business. I'm extraordinarily proud of how we have reshaped the GB business over the last several years, including how we have elevated Guinness to be the #1 beer in the market. Today, I would like to tell you more about what we have done. First, let me share a bit of background on the GB market. GB is a $20 billion beer market with roughly 23 million beer drinkers and growing. Beer has strong on-trade presence in the market with around 42,000 pubs. Beer share of TBA is about 40%, which has declined slightly since 2019, despite premium beer growing ahead of the market at nearly 7%. The beer market is quite consolidated, with the largest 5 brewers at around 60% share. At the brand level, it is less consolidated, with the largest 5 brands at around 25% share. Non-alc beer only holds a 2% share, yet continues to grow at rapid pace. Moving on to our accomplishments in the market. Guinness has grown at a CAGR of 12% over the fiscal 19 to 24, against a backdrop where total beer has grown only 1% over the same period. We have more than doubled our NSV over that time, as we have established ourselves as the #1 beer in the market, including #1 in the on-trade, with a share of 17.5%. We also have the #1 non-alc beer by value, Guinness 0.0, which launched late 2020. We are the #1 in terms of brand strength, as measured by Kantar brand guidance that has just now been released, having improved from #4 back in 2023, a huge gain. And now we are the #1 beer in the increasingly important sports viewing occasion as well. As I said earlier, Guinness was not only and never as a #1 beer in GB, it's been a long way to get here, and today I would like to take you on that journey. We would attribute the brand's success to 3 key areas. First, winning in the on-trade. Second, recruiting new consumers. And third, expanding into new occasions. So let's start with winning in the on-trade. Our journey began with targeted on-trade investments made during COVID pandemic. We also invested in Raise the Bar. We helped our key partners in the on-trade with investment to help them reopen and serve customers post-COVID. We have continued to implement a consistent strategy, working together with the on-trade customers. The second area was to recruit new consumers. Through inclusive marketing, combined with leveraging culture, we have recruited new consumers, including women and younger drinkers. We have extended activation across the country to drive improved performance nationwide. And the third area was to expand into new occasions. We have expanded the reason to drink Guinness to year-round through authentic sports partnership, including the Six Nations and more recently, Premier League. Grainne took you through how we have used sports broaden recruitment, and Deborah shared the way we can truly activate them at scale. I will share how we have specifically made this work in GB. Additionally, Guinness 0.0 has also helped us expand occasions by addressing moderation. So let's go deeper into the journey that Guinness has been in GB. The road to our record recent market share truly began back in the dark days of COVID. As I'm sure you can remember, it was a difficult time for our on-trade customers, with lockdown meaning that consumers could not meet for a pint of Guinness in pubs. During that time, we took the decision to invest for the future, doing the right thing to support the business. We spent £30 million through our Raise the Bar initiative, supporting over 15,000 customers as they prepared for reopening following lockdown. We worked together with the on-trade customers to create socially distanced outdoor spaces, complying with regulations, as well as driving increased Guinness visibility. We also bought back unsold Guinness stock from them to ensure fresh quality beer with Guinness, which is key to the brand, but also to support pubs financially during this difficult period. On top of Raise the Bar, we were prepared with influencer collaborations, sport partnerships, and exciting innovations like Guinness 0.0 to engage and activate with consumers, all with a clear objective to help drive interest, footfall, and traffic into the on-trade. All of this, of course, was combined with some great marketing campaigns, taking us from 9.3 share in 22 to 11.5 in 23, 13.7 in 24, and finally, the record share of 17.5 in 2025. And I would like to show one of our ads from the time of COVID, showing just how we brought to life this critical GB initiative. I personally love that ad. To me, it really brings to life a real consumer sentiment that through COVID, we could really not have that experience of having a pint of Guinness with our loved ones. I hope you found it inspiring as well. While those activities laid the foundation, of course, that was just 5 years ago. While the Raise the Bar initiative provided a great foundation, it did not stop there. We have heavily focused on working together with on-premise customers to increase brand engagement and activation using social media as a platform to extend brand reach and to reinforce our continued commitment to provide superior quality pint. A great example of a pub-led partnership is the Devonshire in London, which has served over 1 million pints of Guinness since it opened back in 2023. Pubs like the Devonshire are creating rituals around drinking Guinness in the on-trade that consumers can directly engage and identify with, all amplified through social media. And these pubs are not the only example of largely Guinness-dedicated accounts that are embracing our rituals and playing with them in their own unique way. There are an increasing number of UK-based fan accounts engaged in activities like judging your pint, taking a photo before your first sip, waiting for the settle. All of these and more have been embraced by our fans, significantly amplifying the Guinness brand message and making Guinness more inclusive for everyone. These activities have driven Guinness to be the #1 talked beer in GB with 60% talkability share. And those activities are only possible through our ability to drive desirability by ensuring a consistent and superior quality pint in the on-trade outlets wherever Guinness is served. Internally, we have a saying that sales and marketing sell the first pint, but quality sells the rest. That is what makes our internal team ensuring quality so important. We transferred our quality team back in-house in 2024, and our investment in them has also underpinned this focus. You can see here great social media examples of how Guinness isn't just consumed, it's celebrated. People don't just drink it, they share it, they talk about it, and make it part of the moment. So through inclusive marketing and campaigns that Granit shared with you earlier, we are recruiting new consumers, including women and younger generations, using compelling marketing that is more inviting for everyone. And by doing this, we have added 1 million consumers to the brand over the last year, an increase of 30%. Importantly, we have done this while staying true to our brand heritage and quality. We didn't change the product and move away from our proven growth drivers. We drove extensive earned media coverage for the brand with initiatives like the Labrum partnership, where we partner with British label Labrum, paying homage to those who immigrated from Sierra Leone and Western Africa. We have put inclusivity at the heart of what we do, including some of our sports sponsorships. For example, as Granny mentioned, we recently created the Never Settle boot, the first soft ground rugby boot engineered specifically for women. We also have our ITV partnership with audio descriptive commentary to blind and visually impaired communities engaging with sport. This was launched during our last Six Nations Championship during 2 matches, and was the first time ever this technology was used in the UK broadcast sport, bringing to life the match by including a level of visual detail of the action and the surrounding stadium atmosphere far beyond the standard broadcast commentary. Another way that we are growing the brand is through expanding to all year-round occasions, recruiting consumers through both summer occasions and watching sport. Last summer, we launched our own Lovely Day for Guinness. This campaign was driven by media all year round, including campaigns outside of St. Patrick's Day and utilizing 360-degree marketing support by social and digital content. Through this approach, we became the #1 beer during summer in the on-trade in 2024, up from being the #4 in 23. But it was not only in the on-trade. In the off-trade, we moved into the top 10 for summer month, a more than 50 bips share gain compared with prior year. This trend started in the summer of 23, when we increased the number of pints sold by 10% from 22. So sports viewing shows another way we have moved to put more pints in hands year-round, further driving frequency and penetration with football and rugby seasons covering nearly 3/4 of the year. Beer consumption while enjoying sports is an important beer occasion in GB, and it's one of the few occasions bringing new consumers to the on-trade. And 2 in 5 Guinness consumers in GB visit the on-trade to watch live sports. While Guinness has become omnipresent in rugby through the sponsorship of Six Nations, more recently, we have expanded our presence in sport to the Premier League with the addition of the stadium's penetration of the self-pouring vending machine. The sponsorship of Six Nations has been a great growth driver and provided extensive opportunities for brand activation. The Premier League takes our sports sponsorship to the next level with a global audience and longer season of 38 weeks. Today, Guinness is the #1 most consumed beer in the football occasion, having moved up from #3. We have also increased brand activation across the country, reducing the dependency of a more limited number of regions and attracting new consumers. A more recent example is Brighton and Kent, where we have seen our share increase to 24%. There is a clear overlap between the opportunity in sports and pub partnerships that I spoke to you earlier. I invited Dave McConnell, the CEO of Stonegate Pub, which is the largest pub company in the UK with 4,500 pubs, to share his reflections on how partnering with Guinness for sports viewing occasion has been important to his business.
22% of our group revenue across 4,500 pubs happen when there's a sporting event on. So it's massively important to us, and we take it very, very seriously. And our 2 biggest sporting events in the yearly calendar are the Premier League and the Guinness Six Nations. And our data more and more shows us that Guinness is the drink of choice amongst rugby and football fans during those occasions. So it's really important that A, we give guests what they want, but B, we also recognise that we're, as a premium product, and with premiumization being just such an important lever for us in terms of driving sales, that this partnership really massively helps that. For us, it's about feeling as though you're in the 5th stand when you're watching a sporting event in a Stonegate pub. And where we get that right, it really, really works. And Guinness and Diageo have just been really aligned in helping us deliver great experience to our guests, supporting us on products, supporting us on product range. Even in our food menus for the Six Nations, we had a Guinness Stout Burger on the menu, which sold really, really well and just connected the brand, the pub, and the product. We continue to strengthen a long-standing relationship. The Premier League stuff's really exciting for us because it's our bread and butter all year round from a sports perspective. Football is the most important and most watched sport in GB pubs and has the most loyal fans as well. So continuing to strengthen that Premier League viewing experience in the years ahead, I think, has real value for both of us.
And we are just starting. So here you can see some examples of local activations for the Premier League during this season. These activations help build cultural connections with consumers, create an increased sense of belonging in key regions across the country, and elevate the on-trade experience. Finally, an example of how we are expanding recruitment is through the off-trade, addressing at-home and moderation occasions and launching relevant innovation. Let me start with Guinness 0.0, the #1 non-alc beer in GB, as well as the fastest growing with a close to 30% share. The 4-pack variant was so popular in GB when it launched that it quickly became the #1 non-alc beer SKU in the market. And better yet, it is vastly incremental to Guinness, with 77% of shoppers new to the brand. We also prioritize Guinness 0.0 visibility into all our sports sponsorships. The second example is Nitro Surge, another successful innovation for us and one that delivers new excitement as well as ensuring great quality into the important at-home occasion. Nitro Surge was the #1 best-selling beer, wine and spirits trademark in Amazon Europe when the device was launched back in 2023. However, with fewer than 1 in 50 households in GB owning a device, compared to 1 in 4 you heard from Barry, there's plenty of opportunity to go after. Finally, embracing innovative price pack architecture solutions, we have been able to increase the accessibility of the brand and reach all consumers for all occasions. Nitro Surge 10-pack is a great example of that, having driven incremental sales. So a credit to the entire GB team on the massive success of Guinness in the market over the past several years, and something that I am, very proud of being part. The truth is, though, there is still plenty of headroom for growth, and I'm convinced the best is yet to come, and I would like to explain why. First, despite being the #1 beer in the market, penetration for Guinness is still low, at about 20%, with only 4.5 million Guinness drinkers in a market of 23 million beer drinkers. So we still have plenty of consumers to go after. Also, despite the positive momentum in recruitment in recent years, that number is even lower for female beer drinkers, with less than 10% of female beer drinkers drinking Guinness. Second, there is still significant upside for Guinness 0.0, especially in the on-trade. While Guinness Draught has approximately 84,000 tap handles in the on-trade outlets in GB, Guinness 0.0 has only 6. As the #1 beer addressing moderation, there's significantly potential here. Third, and finally, there is further opportunity to recruit through sport, with our sponsorship of the Premier League having only started last year, and as such, only really getting started. So 3 very good reasons why we all should believe the best is yet to come. So finally, I would like to end sharing something we are very excited about. We are looking forward to the opening of the Guinness Open Gate Brewery in Covent Garden later this year. We are privileged to be here today in the storehouse, and I hope that you can already sense the excitement and connection that this brings consumers and brand together. London clearly will look to bring some of this magic of Guinness to life. We expect continued recruitment that this location will bring to nearly 500,000 expected annual visitors. Through this brand home in central London, we will first strengthen our position as #1 beer in the country, and second, elevate the sports viewing occasion, and particularly the Premier League sponsorship, exploring cultural collaborations and partnerships to bring football culture to life in store.